UFC, the world leader in MMA. Experience it on FS1.
Fan favorites.
The octagon is a mile high as the UFC descends upon Denver, Colorado's for 2017's first event on network television. A shot at the title hangs in the balance in tomorrow's 5-round main event. Dominant grappler Juliana Pena will test the ground game of world Muay Thai champion Valentina Shevchenko. And this will fly in the co-main event when Donald Cowboy Cerrone looks for his 5th straight finish at 170 pounds against dangerous striker Jorge Masvidal. The FS1 UFC Fight Night weigh-in show starts now. Tomorrow they fight, today they weigh in. Hello everyone and welcome inside the Pepsi Center. I'm Todd Grisham alongside a trio of UFC elite reigning light heavyweight champion Daniel Cormier, former 135-pound King Dominic Cruz, and former Invicta FC champion Michelle Watterson. Megan O'Leary is on location for us as well. We'll be checking in with her in just a minute. But one quick note to inform you about from this morning's official weigh-ins. Marcos Rogerio de Lima missed the light heavyweight limit by 3.5 pounds. The fight will go on a schedule, but he will surrender 20% of his purse to opponent Jeremy Kimball. All right, Daniel, a title shot hangs in the balance in our main event. Let's start with the bullet. Valentina Shevchenko, such a dangerous opponent tonight. What is it that makes her so dangerous?
Valentina Shevchenko, a world Muay Thai champion, also had a star-making performance on network television in her last fight against Holly Holm. She looked phenomenal, set traps, moved beautifully. Thought she earned the title fight, has to come back tomorrow night, do it again, but she has a great opportunity to fight on network television twice.
Yeah, but it's not an easy fight. She's Drew Juliana Pena, who does not care who she's facing. She's very adamant about saying, I fear no fighter. She comes out with that mentality. She chases you right to the center of the octagon, looks for underhooks, and is looking to drag you to the mat and grind the energy out of you. That's something that Juliana Pena has been able to do with everybody so far. You think she can do it again?
I don't know. I think that both of these ladies are polar opposites, both in personality and in octagon, and that's just going to leave for a great fight, and so I'm just looking forward to seeing it.
Dominic, an intriguing and critical co-main event as still undefeated at welterweight. Donald Cerrone looks to continue his trek to contention against the savvy veteran Jorge Masvidal.
Yeah, I love this matchup because both these guys are seasoned strikers, and they're not just seasoned in experience and how many fights they have in the UFC and how many fights they have in general. I mean, Masvidal has over 40 fights, not to count the ones that he's had in street fights. Cerrone, close to the same, but they also choose and change their style according to who they're facing. They're very technical with how they decide to land their strikes, and they always keep their balance, which always keeps their power underneath them with their feet underneath them at the same time.
The thing that gets me very excited about this fight is both of these guys want to fight each other. They couldn't get locked in the octagon faster. They want to fight each other right now. Tomorrow night, they finally get the opportunity. All the talk is done. They get to settle the score inside the octagon.
And of course, before the actual fight, we have the inconvenient truth. That's the weigh-ins and the stare-downs. Here's John Anik.
What's going on, Denver, Colorado? Great to be back in the Mile High City. Thank you all for coming to the weigh-in. How about a hand for the Octagon girls? Ariane, Brittany, Chrissy, and Vanessa. UFC President Dana White is in the building. Our talent relations team, Sean Shelby and Mick Maynard. All right, let's get things going. First up, UFC Fight Pass prelims. In the lightweight division, Jason Nakoya Gonzalez versus JC Superstar Cottrell.
Jason started training MMA so he could beat up a bully. And look at him now. He's a contestant on the Tough 22 and fighting for the UFC. I bet you that bully's mad about it. Cool detail about him. His favorite submissions are banana splits and a twister. I wonder if he did that to the bully.
You know what? JC Cottrell is a gamer. I talked to one of his training partners.
156, the official weight for JC Cottrell.
They said that he is much better inside of the octagon than when he trains. Tomorrow, you will see a better version of himself. Good wrestling and train sometimes. with Tyrone Lewis and Jared Sanders, both guys that were All-Americans at Oklahoma State University. So this guy can wrestle and will try to impose that on his opponent, Jason Gonzalez. Again, Michelle, to your point.
Sorry, I jumped the gun, but yeah, Jason started training MMA because he wanted to beat up a bully. He's a contestant on Tough 22, and now he's fighting for the UFC, so I bet you that bully's pretty mad.
He's got to be pretty upset.
156 for Jason Gonzalez.
But you said his two favorite submissions are twisters and banana splits. Those are not common submissions in MMA, so if he can pull that off, he's a very exciting guy to watch.
Yes, sir.
All right, moving on now to the featured bout of the Fight Pass prelims in the UFC flyweight division. Alexandre Pantoja versus Eric Showtime Shelton.
Eric Shelton recently competed on Tough 24. He was Team Benavidez then, so you know that he's probably got a guillotine that he was taught somewhere along the way. Not to mention he trains with two UFC vets in Pete Spratt and Dwayne Ludwig. Let's see how his striking looks in this matchup.
126, the official weight for Eric Shelton.
His job before fighting was at the Boys and Girls Club, so you know he cares about the children also.
Alexandre Pantoja.
For Alexandre Pantoja, he was on The Ultimate Fighter with Henry Cejudo. After the show, he's become kind of a protege of Cejudo's. He's done everything with him, from training at CSA in Northern California to spending the last week at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs.
126 for Alexandre Pantoja.
Henry said this morning he wanted to show him a higher level of athletics, and if that doesn't motivate him, he doesn't know what will.
Moving on now to the FS1 UFC Fight Night prelims. First up in the light heavyweight division, Marcos Rogerio Peizao de Lima versus Jeremy Grizzly Kimball. First fighter to the scale, please welcome Jeremy Kimball.
Jeremy Kimball started his career by following his father, who was also an MMA coach, before he continued to coach his son, who he now trains alongside with Ernest. And Ernest Kimball and John Crouch are his main coaches.
The official weight for Jeremy Kimball.
His nickname is
opponent, Marcos Rogerio Peizao de Lima.
You watch De Lima fight, and he's a very aggressive Muay Thai striker. He has professional kickboxing experience. Now, he did not make the contracted weight this morning. We have to say that. He does get the fight. He will give 20% of his purse to his opponent, but the opportunity to compete is still there for this young man.
By 3.5 pounds, he missed weight.
209.5 for Peizao. He will give 20% of his fight purse to his opponent.
You got to see how that affects his fighting, too, because he's very aggressive and goes very hard very early. Let's see if it takes a toll on his cardio.
Well, they call Kimball the Grizzly Bear for a reason, so let's see if he can go out there with small hands.
In the middleweight division,
man.
Eric Sabrina Spicely versus Alessio Manzo Di Chirico.
Chirico, awesome opponent, great striking, mixes it up, comes from a great camp, and he's looking to come out here and do great things on this fight night. Says he's confident, says he's ready, and let's see how his weight is, even though he already made it.
185 the official weight for Manzo. And his opponent, Eric Spicely.
Eric Spicely weighed in today at 185.8 pounds. He's training at TriStar for his fight camp this time around. He says that if he wasn't fighting for the best organization in the world, he'd probably be working on his career as a skateboarder.
186, the official weight earlier today for Eric Spicely.
Also, fun fact about him, his hero is Ric Flair.
Woo! We all love Ric Flair.
That was your been waiting for that moment.
Let me tell you one thing. You sure know how to butter up to us, don't you? A professional wrestling club.
Moving on to the light heavyweight division, and Hiki Frankenstein da Silva versus Jordan Johnson. First fighter to the scale, undefeated as he makes his UFC debut, Jordan Johnson.
You got Jordan Johnson, a University Nationals All-American, wrestled at Grand Canyon University, and then went on to wrestle at one of the greatest, most storied wrestling universities in the entire world, the University of Iowa. He said he loves to win fights by chokes. Now,
205, the official weight for Jordan Johnson.
obviously his wrestling puts him in those positions, but he's in my weight class where we all like to just knock each other out with punches.
And he also trained with Phil Davis a little with us at
They call him
Alliance.
Frankenstein, and I can see why. He absolutely is a monster in the octagon. He likes to be just like Frankenstein. He walks his opponents down and clobbers them.
That's a good word. Why
Hey,
not?
sometimes it looks like he's gonna slobber. He goes right at him, I'll tell you that much.
Slobber knocks him.
206, the official weight for Frankenstein.
Frankenstein has finished 8 opponents in the first round. He'll be headhunting when this match starts tomorrow night.
Next up, UFC welterweight division, Bobby Nasty Nash versus Lee the Leech Jing Liang.
Jiang Liang is fighting on Chinese New Year. Now, the local Chinese community have tried to shower him with gifts. They're trying to help alleviate any last-minute homesickness that he may have. People at home believe that China will stop to watch Lee fight. He's very popular over there. He has a great support system, great fan base.
170.5, the official weight for the Leech.
He's not supposed to fight here tonight, but he's had some delays to get him to this point. So let's hope everything works out for him.
Bobby Nasty Nash.
Bobby Nash is no slouch. He's currently on a 6-fight win streak, and that doesn't count his 14-0 amateur record, holding 3 amateur titles as well. This guy comes in with a ton of experience just in his amateur career alone, which makes him a professional before he even started his professional career. That goes on, and that is the next generation that is coming up in this sport.
171 for Bobby Nash.
He also owns a bachelor's degree in sociology from Michigan State and a Division I Big Ten wrestler. Let's see how he does.
All right, next up, folks, this is a big one in the UFC bantamweight division. Rafael Assunção versus Aljamain Funkmaster Sterling.
There's my man Aljo with the big gold chain, with the high top fade. He looks like you would find him rapping on a corner somewhere in Brooklyn in the mid-'80s. But when it's time to fight, Aljamain Sterling has the goods. How does he respond to his first loss in his last fight? He says that he respects Rafael Assunção. He wishes that his brothers would stop trying to talk trash for him. If you're gonna talk trash, do it yourself.
136, the official weight for Aljo.
Aljo's in phenomenal shape. He says that he likes Rafael, but unfortunately, those brothers can talk for you, brother, but they can't fight for you.
Rafael Assunção brings 15 fights of high-level experience from the WEC and the UFC to come into this fight. He's also fought former champion TJ Dillashaw and beaten him, so he has the look to be great in this division. Facing a guy like Aljamain Sterling will move him up in the division to another good spot. He also boasts a strong striking defense and a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
135.5, the official weight for Rafael Assunção.
This is a premier matchup in the 135-pound division. Everybody's going to get a great show here.
And our featured bout of the FS1 UFC Fight Night prelims in the middleweight division. Nate the Great Marquardt versus Smiling Sam Alvey.
Smiling Sam Alvey. Everybody knows him for that big smile of his, but they forget about his pro experience since 2008. That's just a year after I started. He's been doing this almost 11 years, ladies and gentlemen. 13 first-round finishes. This guy can punch. He has a natural God-given gift to knock people out, and that is something that he's always looking for in every matchup he's had.
185.5, the official weight for Sam Alvey. And his opponent, born right here in Denver, Colorado, Nate the Great Marquardt.
anybody that has more fights than Smiley, it's Nate the Great. I remember when I trained out here in Colorado, I actually went to his gym to train and just thinking, man, this guy's a legend.
185.5 for Nate Marquardt.
And he's still fighting today. You know, he had his pro debut when he was 17. I think he actually fought illegally.
Hi again, folks. Only 4 more fights to go. First on the main card should be a good one between Alex Caceres and Jason Knight. And DC, the 18-2 Knight, weighs in first.
Jason Knight, you want to do this, boy? That's what he said in his octagon debut. A very forward fighter, forward pressure fighter. A guy that has phenomenal technique, says that he is going to embarrass Alex Caceres, wants to knock him out.
145.5 for Mississippi Mean, Jason the Kid Knight.
Jason Knight says Caceres has never been in there with anybody like him, and he's going to embarrass him tomorrow night and prove a point against Bruce Leroy.
Caceres is hyped. Not a lot of time. He's in there quick to get done with this weigh-in, clearly.
145 on the nose for Bruce Leroy.
He competed on Tough 12 to gain tons of experience. He trains at the lab with John Crouch, so you know his ground game is up there to hang with Knight. He's unorthodox, resilient, and unpredictable. This matchup right here is another sleeper bout.
Jason Knight does not have a problem getting in your face, though. He likes to fight. He likes to fight Jason Knight, the Mississippi boy.
Well, it's a good thing, because it's about to happen.
Pitbull Arlovsky versus Francis the Predator Ngannou.
There he is, ladies and gentlemen, the beast that is Francis Ngannou. He has made it look easy up to this point in his UFC debut, and he believes that at some point he will be the UFC champion. I saw him in the back and I go, Francis, why didn't you show up at AKA? Because they had called.
256.5.
They tried to pass it off on me not answering the text messages, but we wanted to get our hands on this guy. He says that he can help anybody because of his striking skills. He's just finding himself in MMA. Looks to demolish Arlovsky tomorrow.
Arlovsky is so intimidating to me. I remember him coming to the gym, and I didn't talk to him for a whole year because I was scared. But he's actually a really nice guy. I asked him, you know, if there's anything that he wanted me to say today, and he said that in my Russian accent, I'm going to make the UFC great again.
And he's got a red hat too, so I mean, come on.
246, the official weight for the Pitbull.
I've trained with Arlovsky before, man. This guy is fast. He's got a great jab. He's got good takedown defense. And the last time he came in there with someone that people thought he was going to bowl over was Travis Brown, and we saw how that one showed up.
Definitely.
And now we get to the co-main event in the UFC welterweight division. Donald Cowboy Cerrone versus Jorge Gamebred Masvidal.
Jorge Masvidal says, I've never dropped to a body shop. Cerrone has. That being said, heart is one of his biggest strengths. He believes he can outgrind Donald Cerrone. Fighting was his first job, so if anybody can do it, it's somebody who started at the age of 14 in the streets. He has 41 fights to his record now.
171, the official weight for Gamebred.
And he's been a pro since 2003. I love how tough he is. He doesn't care what the fans have to say.
Proudly repping the great state of Colorado, number 5 in the world, Donald Cowboy Cerrone.
Wow, just listen to that crowd. There's Cowboy with his grandma. That's his biggest supporter, his biggest fan, and his best friend. Donald's actually the one that got me into fighting. When I told the promoter I wanted to fight, he didn't believe me, but Donald did.
171, the official weight for Cowboy.
He came to my work the next day, told me if I was serious about training to get my butt in the gym, and I never looked back since. Let's go, Cowboy.
Jorge Masvidal is talking to him, and Cowboy just smiles. Masvidal wants this fight.
Well, now it's time to take a closer look at the 2 women who will share the octagon in tomorrow night's bantamweight main event. Take a look.
Doesn't matter if you wear lip gloss or if you get all dressed up and look like a girl. Once that door closes, I'm an animal and I'm a gamer, and I'm coming at you.
The the original Women's Ultimate Fighter winner, Juliana Pena, ladies and gentlemen.
I am fighting for the UFC on the biggest stage possible. My goal is to go put a hellacious beating on this girl. I got in this sport to be a champion, and I'm not gonna stop until I get there.
I don't like to speak. I like with my fist to show. My goal is to be the champion. This is what I want, and nothing can stop me.
Juliana Pena versus Valentina Shevchenko is a classic contest between grappler and striker. Juliana Pena is ferocious.
I am the force to be reckoned with. There's nothing more than I want than to be recognized as one of the hardest females in UFC history.
I'm a finisher. That's what I came here to do.
This is an amazing opportunity for Juliana Pena, and she's fighting arguably the most dangerous opponent of her career. Shevchenko is a former Muay Thai world champion and is coming off the biggest victory of her career against Holly Holm. The winner of this fight is likely to emerge as one of the top contenders in the women's bantamweight division.
This girl's gonna be very strong, but I believe in myself and I believe that my skill set is bigger, and I'm going to put a bludgeoning on her. I'm going to take her down, and I'm going to have her fighting a brick wall until she gives up and gives me her back, and I'm gonna choke her unconscious. And if I don't, then I'll just beat the brakes off of her with elbows and punches and mount.
Nobody can know what it will happen, but I know for sure that I will show best of me in every single minute of the fight. I want to keep forward till I will be the champion.
I'm trying to get that 12 pounds of gold around my waist. I'm not gonna stop until I get there.
First fighter to the scale, number 2 in the world, the Venezuelan vixen, Juliana Pena.
The Venezuelan vixen. When the referee says go,
135, the official weight for Juliana Pena.
That is exactly what she does. She is a wild girl. When she gets after her opponent, she overwhelms them. I've seen her actually make the toughest women in the world look like they want to find the door. She has to do that tomorrow night.
Valentina Shevchenko is a girl after my own heart. She believes that martial arts is not just a sport, but it's a way of life, and that's how she lives it. Nicknamed the Bullet, she's lightning fast and crazy accurate. Her and Pena are polar opposites, both in their personality and their styles. But you know what they say? Styles make fights, and this is guaranteed to be a matchup you won't want to miss. These girls are both going for the gold.
134.5 for Valentina Shevchenko.
Physically, Valentina looks great. She actually looks bigger. One of my things was she was small for the weight class. She actually looks physically bigger right now.
Yeah, after talking to my teammate Holly, she says she feels really strong, especially on the ground.
All right, here she is, folks. Juliana Pena, congratulations, your first UFC main event. I know you've been chomping at the bit to get in there. How are your emotions here on the eve of your first UFC headline?
I'm ready to go. I'm ready for war.
There she is, folks. Venezuelan vixen, Juliana Pena. And we will step over here and talk to Valentina Shevchenko. Nice to see you again. Another Fox UFC main event for you. You've been training here with these fine people in Colorado. How do you think that works to your advantage here at altitude tomorrow night?
I had great training camp here in Denver and 303 Academy, so I'm feeling great. My 150% for the victory.
There she is, folks. Look forward to it tomorrow night. Valentina Shevchenko. All right, Denver, thanks for coming out. We'll see you for the fights tomorrow night.
It's certainly going to be contrasting styles in our main event. Shevchenko versus Pena. Michelle, what did you make of that stare down?
You know, it was short and sweet. It was all business to me. I think these ladies are just more excited to get into the octagon tomorrow night and you know, show them what they've been training for.
Yeah, you know, intense.
The UFC returns January 28th with a stacked fight card no fan wants to miss. In a 5-round main event, women's bantamweight Valentina the Bullet Shevchenko takes on Ultimate Fighter winner Juliana Pena. Plus, Colorado's own Donald Cowboy Cerrone fights at home against fellow UFC veteran Jorge Masvidal.
Just absolutely perfect technique by Donald Cowboy Cerrone.
UFC Fight Night, January 28th, only on Fox.
The biggest sports weekend of the year just got even more exciting as the UFC returns February 4th with a featherweight showdown. In the main event, the Korean zombie Chang Sung-jung returns to the octagon against top 10 finisher Dennis Bermudez. Plus, undefeated strawweight star Alexa Grasso takes on powerful veteran Felice Herrig. And crafty lightweights Evan Dunham and Abel Trujillo square off. UFC Fight Night is live February 4th, only on Fox Sports 1.
The UFC Women's Featherweight Championship. Holly Holm, one of the greatest female boxers ever.
The best pound-for-pound fighter in Muay Thai. 45-0 for Jermaine Durandamy.
The greatest of all time, Anderson Silva.
Derek Runtz, man, human highlight reel. Jacare, he's just an animal.
Tim Bosch is as tough as they come.
UFC 208. Holm versus Durandamy. Saturday, February 11th, live on pay-per-view.
My nipples get hard. I'm excited.
Kicking off the new season here.
Are you me right now?
Dana White's house is like Neverland for hillbillies.
Let's go on an adventure.
Let me tell you something. Oh my God. Disneyland. I want to thank Dana White for exposing me to a whole side of America that brothers ain't used to being exposed to.
I decided that Dean Thomas and I would drag race.
I felt like I was biting into a condom filled with bologna.
Never judge a card until it's over. Everybody on that card came to fight. It's awesome, man. That's what this show is all about.